Hey everyone, what's going on? It's John Matrix here. Just making a channel update video for you guys. I know it's been a long time really since I've done anything on my YouTube channel. Um, but just wanted to do a channel update video, kind of talking about what's been going on, why I haven't really been updating or uploading much of anything. And some ideas and things that I want to do with the YouTube channel. Um, Firstly, just kind of, want to simultaneously apologize and also thank you guys. I know it's, as I've said, it's been really a long time since I've been updating anything on the channel on a consistent basis. And I'll talk about why here in a bit. Nothing big, but and just, yeah, thank you guys for, anyone that's out there that's still subscribed to me, that is interested in any of the content that I make, and, still supports me. I really appreciate it. Um, so really, for the most part, the short of it is there just really hasn't been anything out recently for me that I felt like I could make some content and that was really worth, you know, uploading for you guys. I was into Apex pretty big when that first came out, and unfortunately, after the first kind of content patch came out, they broke the game and really became not enjoyable to play anymore. It was funny because like I had all kinds of content that I had stored up. I was planning on doing guide videos for the various champs in the game, what their strengths and weaknesses are, how to use them properly, and for some champs, what weapons would benefit the most for their kits, and how, for my playstyle anyway. But I was starting to put some of those videos together, and just after they released the patch that broke the game, the game just became unenjoyable to play. It just really was not fun anymore. I was probably, when the game first came out and it was working right, and I was probably averaging 6 to 10 kills a game. Every time I would stream, we would play anywhere from 3 to 4 hours, me and my buddies, and we would win 5, 6 games in that 3 to 4 hour period. We were winning on a regular basis. It was fun. The game felt, great. There weren't any problems with it. And then after that patch came out, you're sitting there shooting people and watching bullets going through them. There's hit markers. They're not taking damage. Um, and just all kinds of registration problems and desync problems, and it just that once that happened, it kind of took the wind out of my sails for this game, and the fact that it took them, almost what, 2.5 or 3 months to get the game back into a somewhat playable state, with their stance of only wanting to put out quality patches. Um, and then on top of that, it's just, again, with their stance on how often they're going to add content to this game, which is really only going to be every 3 or 4 months, they're going to add a new champ and maybe a new weapon from what they've stated. It just doesn't seem like Apex is the kind of game that you can like keep content coming out on a somewhat regular basis for. So I kind of just scrapped that idea, and to be honest, there just really hasn't been anything else out that I felt like putting content or making content for. I've been playing a lot of various random games, mostly just chill games, some RPGs and stuff like that, but nothing really for me to like put videos together and upload. I mean, I guess I could, record some let's plays of, my streams or whatever, and upload those to YouTube for you guys if that's something you're interested in watching. Um, but I haven't really been playing anything consistent. I've kind of just been jumping around from game to game. The Xbox Pass thing came out from E3, so I've downloaded some games on there that have been on my Steam wish list to play, and I've been trying those games out. But for the most part, there just hasn't really been anything out content wise that I wanted to make. Hunt Showdown has got a good amount of content out for it now. I haven't really played that game consistently for a while. I've mostly been playing the quick play on it because I don't have anyone else really that plays the game consistently that's on like a schedule that I'm on. I have a couple of friends that play it, but they're kind of on opposite schedules with me with their work. So we haven't really been able to sync up and do anything with that. But You know, originally I started the guide videos on Hunt Showdown because I was one of the people that was lucky enough to get a key for the game in the very first wave in the alpha to try it out. And you know, after playing it for a bit and reading some stuff on the forums, there were a lot of people that were frustrated with the game. They thought the game was a little too hard, you know, a little too hardcore, and yada yada, and they didn't really understand a lot of the concepts in the game. Some people didn't even know how that you could ADS. They thought it was just like, you know, the hipfire perspective. So you know, I just decided to make a guide video for people and just went over some basic stuff, and then that kind of blew up, and you know, people wanted more, so I just kind of started making more content for it from there. And really, I was the only person at that time that was really making any content for Hunt Showdown because it was one of those niche games where I guess not a lot of people were into it at the time, and like I said, I was lucky enough to get into it in the very first wave of keys. Um, and so I just started making content for it to help people out because it was a game that I really liked and I wanted to see it succeed, and I still do want to see it succeed. But they have made a lot of changes to the game that I don't necessarily really like. I don't know if it's really a game that I could play on a consistent basis as hardcore as I used to. They have a lot of weapons that are one-shot mechanics in the game. When you get into the later stuff, you know, with exploding crossbows, if you hit people directly with that, and shot bolt stuff, and all the shotguns are one-shot weapons, and you know, just there's just so many one-shot mechanics. And I mean, like, I'm okay with one-shot mechanics if they're, like, skill-based, you know, shooting people in the head. You know, my FPS background is mostly Counter-Strike, so I'm used to, like, games that are with really fast time to kill. So, like, if it's skill-based, I'm okay with it, but if it's just, you know, I have this weapon, so 90% of the time I'm gonna win, that's not really a great mechanic, in my opinion. But I still think the game is great, and, you know, they've recently put out a lot of content, but that's part of the reason why I stopped really making videos for Hunt Showdown is I really ran out of content for the game. Um, you know, they had one update before, not this E3 that just happened, but, you know, 2018 E3. They had one update, and they really, the only thing they added to the update was the stealth stuff. They added the silenced weapons, the crossbows, throwing knives, and the poison grenade and the flash grenade. And really beyond that, they didn't add anything that was really new content to the game until like this past October, November with the 4.0 update, and they started adding some new weapons. Like they added some variants of some weapons along the way, but it wasn't really any kind of new content. And then it's been a full year, I think, for them to add one whole new boss. So I mean, there's new content in the game. I can go over, you know, some. I'd be interested in going through the game and trying out some of the new weapons and some of the new items and looking over some new builds for the games and trying to make some cost-effective builds for the game and also, you know, early, you know, bloodline builds that are good and then late game, you know, et cetera, et cetera. You know, there's content that can be made for the game, but it's also dependent on if that's stuff that you guys are still interested in. I don't know how many people that still follow me on YouTube or on Discord still really play Hunt Showdown on a regular basis or want to play Hunt Showdown on a regular basis. You know, if you haven't played it in a while, I would definitely recommend going back and checking it out. They've definitely improved the game more. Optimization wise, it definitely runs a lot better. And they have added a lot of new content to the game, and they have, you know, the quick play mode, which is kind of like their take on a battle royale mode. It's not really battle royale, but it's battle royale like, and it's fun. It's a solo mode. It's worth checking out. But yeah, go ahead and you know, I would say try it out again. See what you think. My AC just kicked on.
Yeah, the shields are down.
So you don't have that in the background. Sorry about that. But other than that, you know, there's been a few other games that I've thought about trying to get into to make, you know, some guides and content for, but the real issue that I have with that is those games, there's so many other people out there that have already made content and guides for it that it's kind of like I don't feel like there's really a need for it. You know what I mean? Like Rainbow Six Siege is a game that I could see myself getting into. The main issue with that game is that it's just going to be very time consuming for me to really learn, not necessarily the game, but like the maps. I mean, most of the skill of Rainbow Six comes from map knowledge, knowing you know, where to bust down the walls to get certain angles on people, and where to reinforce walls, and etc., etc., things like that. So, and that's just stuff you have to learn over time. That's not something that you can just, you know, do naturally. Escape from Tarkov is another game that I would really like to get into. I've played it some, and that's kind of the closest game to Hunt Showdown, but that's another game that already really has a strong community and has a lot of people making content for it. So, I mean, it could be, you know, something I could do stuff for if people are interested in that. But again, for the most part, there's already a lot of, you know, knowledge and content out for that, so I don't really see kind of a need to, unless that's something that people want to see me make content for. But beyond that, I don't really know what else to do as far as making unique game content, guides or whatever that people would be interested in, other than just, you know, doing let's plays or uploading you know, montages of the various games that I play, or just, you know, matches, game rounds, whatever you want to call them, in Apex or PUBG or whatever game that I'm playing. Um, so, like, game wise, I'm kind of in that position of not really necessarily knowing what I want to do as far as YouTube goes. You know, I stream on a regular basis. Typically, I stream Monday through Friday on my Twitch channel. Um, I'm on Eastern time. I usually start between 6 and 7 p.m. and go till kind of whenever, really. Whenever I just kind of feel like I'm done, I want to chill out for the rest of the night before I go to sleep. But and I just kind of play random games. You know, I have a lot of variety of games that I'm interested in playing. So I mean, always feel free to come and hang out in there and chill and talk and do whatever. But as far as YouTube goes, I'm trying to figure out really what gaming content I could add to it that you guys would find enjoyable. Now, beyond gaming, I'm interested in expanding the channel into other avenues. I've wanted to do a podcast for a couple years now, honestly. Just shits and giggles, just something else to do that would be fun. I'm very much into movies and TV shows, gaming content. Obviously, I'm kind of starting to get into anime a little bit. I'm turning into an old weeb. Um, but you know, just a podcast to chill and talk about, you know, what's going on in the movies industry, talk about movie reviews, TV shows that I'm interested in, TV show reviews. I'd also kind of wouldn't mind. I was thinking about this for like the Patreon stuff, or just as in a general thing that the community could do, starting kind of like a book club kind of idea, but with games. Like I had the idea for like the Dark Souls series, where like we take a section, and like each week we play through a section of the game, talk about the lore of that section, and what that kind of means, you know, for the game, and then, you know, at the end of that week, you know, during the podcast or whatever, get together and just talk about it. You know, talk about the lore of the game, what some of the meanings of it are, you know, just etc. etc. Just something new and different to do as a community, and talk about, you know, what we're playing together. You know, just something that people could do together that's a little different. That's not necessarily competitive multiplayer shooting, but just something else that's something else to do. So I thought about, you know, that something like that to do, but I don't really know how many games you could do that with. You know, it works well with the Souls games because there's so much lore in the game. It's a very lore rich game. You know, you could do it with something like RPGs in general. You could do that for. You could do it with Skyrim. You could do it with, or should I say, just Elder Scrolls games in general. You could do it with, you know, the Witcher games, stuff like that. But once we get through all those, I'm not really sure, you know, how that could be something that could continue. Um, and we could do that something like that with movies and TV shows or whatever. But yeah, just, you know, I thought about starting a podcast, you know, and right at the moment I don't have anyone else that would be interested in like doing the podcast with me that I know, that I could trust to do a podcast with. So it'd kind of just be me sitting there chatting and just talking about movies, reviews, going over things like that. I would probably stream it on my Twitch channel and then upload that to YouTube. So I would try to do it, I guess, with that format. I would try to do it, a little more interactive, where I'm talking to you guys in chat and um, go back and forth with you guys in chat on the podcast, I guess. Um, I would love to eventually kind of try to do like, I don't know if it's necessarily like a talk show kind of format, like a late night talk show kind of format on Twitch with the podcasting like that. I think that's a little too, I don't know, scripted, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, there's a lot of different ways that could be done as far as a podcast goes. But it's something that I want to do for a long time. But I'm also very much a perfectionist, and so I would want the production side of things to look good. I would want to have an idea, a good name and a theme for the podcast, and have some good art set up for it. And I'm not an artist, and I don't know an artist, and I'm also pretty broke, so I don't really have any money to hire someone to really make stuff like that for me. So that's just something that it's nitpicky on my side. I'm kind of a perfectionist, so I would just kind of have to get over that and just use what I have for now, and hopefully as it grows I can expand that stuff. So I mean, that's one idea that that's one thing, one way I might expand the YouTube channel. The other thing is I'm into cooking as a hobby. I'm not a chef by any means, but I enjoy cooking, and a lot of my friends have expressed that they would love me to do some cooking streams or cooking things and put my recipes up on YouTube and stuff like that. So that could be something that I could do. The main issue with that is that I don't live by myself. I live with other people, and so it's kind of hard for me to tie up the kitchen for an hour plus and try to film something without a bunch of people running around in the background, which is how I'd want to do it. So beyond that, I'm not really sure what else, content wise to put up on YouTube. Um, gaming wise, I'm kind of in this limbo of trying to figure out what to make content for gaming wise. I don't really know any games coming out um, that I could start making content for other than Monster Hunter World. But the problem with that is I have Monster Hunter World on the PC, and that's the platform I'd want to play it on, so I can not play that game at 30 FPS. And the issue with that is the Iceborne expansion for that's coming out. I don't think PC's getting it at the same time as console. I think that it's coming out a few months later, maybe even early next year. So by the time I would get a hold of that and start making content for it, again, there's already so many channels out there that are making content for it that it's all going to be done by then. So it would be something where I could just, my first time hunting particular monsters and stuff like that, I could throw those up there. But beyond that, I don't really know what else we could do as far as that goes. So, I mean, if you have any suggestions on anything you'd like to see me do, I guess, feel free to add it in the comments, and I'll take a look at it and see what I can do. If there's enough people in the community that still are interested in Hunt Showdown and want me to make Hunt Showdown content, whether it's guides or just, you know, gameplay videos, whatever, me making builds, just whatever, just Hunt Showdown content in general, let me know. I'll still make some more of that. I'll get back into that game a little bit and upload that when I can. But yeah, beyond that, I guess, in the future, maybe look for some stuff from the podcast for me. I don't really know when I'm going to start that. If I start that, it'll probably be something that I do maybe once a week, maybe once every other week. I would like to do it once a week, but starting off, I might do it once every other week. I don't know. So we'll just see how it goes. I'll just play it by ear, and it would be the podcast would kind of be a thing where I just turn on the stream, hit the record button, and just kind of talk for as long as I want to talk about whatever the subjects that I want to talk about at the time, whatever movies are out that I want to do a review on. I might do a movie club thing where it's like every week here I'm gonna watch, this movie. If you guys want to watch it with me, and then we can talk about it, during the next podcast, or TV show, or an anime or whatever. And this is buffering for me. Whatever. But anyway, so yeah, that's kind of it. Like I said, if there's anything out there that you guys are interested in maybe me doing, feel free to comment on it. If there's anyone out there that still has any kind of interest, in the content that I put up, and you wanna, whatever, you wanna see me do, just let me know. Appreciate you guys, that are still out there, that are still interested in the content that I make, and are still supporting me. I really appreciate you guys still being out there and hanging with me. And I'm gonna try to do my best to find, some stuff to put up on a regular basis for you guys, content wise. So, yeah, thanks for hanging out, guys. Appreciate you watching the video. Thanks for supporting the channel. I really, it's one of those things where, like, I don't really know how to, like, say thank you properly, I guess, because it seems kind of weird that, people actually really enjoy content that I put out and want to support me. So it's one of those weird things where, like, thank you doesn't seem like it's enough, but thanks for the support. If you want to follow me on Twitter, you can follow me over at JohnMatrix69 on Twitter. My Twitch channel is twitch.tv/JohnMatrix69. And then, of course, if you support me on YouTube and you want to continue, feel free to like and subscribe any of the videos you see. And, yeah, thanks again, guys. And, like I said, I'll, hopefully be putting out more content for you guys on a regular basis. So yeah, for now, thanks again. I know I've said that just a million times now, but, yeah, thanks. Have a good one.